culture.
I'm here with the family.
Bryce, XXV, Double I,
Rome.
D Malone,
Bro Flying.
T-Boogie, man.
Just the greatest sports show on the planet. La Familia. Hope y'all ready for a ride.
Can't wait to hear what you guys got to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Commanders Nations, you know what time it is. Your favorite podcast is back, Held to the Culture. Just in time to get you guys ready for training camp, which is right around the corner. First practice, I believe, is next Wednesday. So still early. It's July, mid-July, hot summer days, but a lot of news to get into from Terry McLaurin's contract to the newly signed Von Miller. Before we get into anything else, though, I'm going to let my guy introduce himself. Bryce, let him know how you doing. How's your summer going?
Man, like you said, it's a hot summer, bro. It's been crazy, relentless heat. But yeah, y'all know who it is. At Bryce XXVII, aka Mr. Big Leaguer. I'm excited for today's episode, man. I feel like we haven't been here as much as we want to, right? It's been a little minute, so definitely excited to retouch base with our Commanders Nation. I'll get into some of these topics that have been at the top of all of our minds recently, man. There's some decisions to make in Commander Land.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just like the summer heat, this latest Terry McLaurin contract interview, man, he's turning up the heat on them contract talks. But we're gonna get into that here in a minute. But first, man, let's start with this Von Miller signing. We talked a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, around OTAs about the need for a pass rusher. We talked about it leading up into the draft. We've been on other podcasts talking about it. It's been a big topic in Commanders Nation. They needed a pass rusher. They went out and signed Von Miller. Now, the first thing everybody points to is obviously his age. He's 36, only had about 6 sacks last season. Before I give my opinion on it, though, because I think this is a great move, I'm very interested to know what you think of the signing, and do you have any concerns based on his age?
I would have concerns based off his age. I've got concerns based off age about another contract that may be coming up. All right. When we talk about Von Miller, I don't really have much concerns based off his age because it's a 1-year deal with incentives, right? So we talk about a 1-year deal, a guy that we bringing on to play a very defined role. You know what I'm saying? A guy that we should not be, I don't expect to be reliant on throughout the season, right? I think his role, and we'll get more into that, but I think his role will be very defined from snap one in the Commander's jersey. So I'm not concerned with the age, bro. In fact, I think if he was any younger, we'd be paying a premium for Von Miller. And you did mention the 6 sacks last year. You know, folks got to keep in mind that was 6 sacks, but that was 6 sacks and shout out my guy T Boogie, man. T Boogie in the building. But that was 6 sacks in only like 12, 13 games, right? So 6 very big sacks. I mean, you know, you talk about who was the second leading sacks on the Commanders last year? Probably, I know 10.5 was Fowler. I don't even know if we had anybody with 6 after Fowler though, right? So if he would have just had that 6, he would have been second on our team. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and then we talk about it only being in 12, 13 games. I'm cool with that. As a matter of fact, it was probably Lulu second, and Lulu might have had around 7, so he probably didn't beat Lulu. But I'm cool with it, bro. I love the signing. I think he comes in and immediately contributes, and I think we see him in a Kenley Jansen, Mariano Rivera role. All right, we ain't worried about Von Miller until it's 3 minutes left on the clock, man. We ain't worried about Von until then, and I think that's a perfect role for him at this age and this point of his career.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. The closer role, to me, I'm using the basketball analogy. I'm picturing him as Ray Allen coming off the bench. You know what I mean? In his later years, Ray Allen came off the bench, started hitting threes. If that's what Von Miller can give us this season, and that's really all we're asking for. He's one of the more clutch players, as I've said in the past, in all of league history, from what I can remember. Even in Von Miller's prime, in his heyday, it felt like he might disappear for 3 quarters, and all of a sudden, if the game's on the line, he's making pressure after pressure, getting sacks, strip sacks. So Von Miller is a dog. Make no question about it. I believe the Rams did the same thing that we're doing when they signed Von Miller. To me, this is a sign that you're putting all your chips on the table, right? You don't sign a guy like Von Miller, or Von Miller doesn't sign with a team at the age of 36 that he doesn't think has a chance to go get a championship. So really, to me, this signifies that they're putting their chips on the table and they're trying to go get that ring. They're trying to go get that Super Bowl this season. And Von Miller is the perfect player to to put in this position to come in on third down and be a specialist just to get that pass rush. Does he help with rundowns? Probably not. Is he going to be a true starter? Probably not. Looking back at his last two seasons, last season specifically, watching some of the tape, he only played about 40 to 30% of the snaps per game. So I only expect him to get about 20 to 30 plays each game. And if you're telling me he's getting 6 sacks playing 12, 13 games, only 50% of those games, and those are actually crazy numbers. I haven't got a chance to check his PFF pass rush win rate, but I'm willing to bet is one of the highest in the whole league. So even at 36, Von Miller is an absolute dog. He went crazy in that Broncos game. I remember watching that Bills Broncos playoff game last year, and he was definitely making some noise. I don't think he got to Bo Nix at all in that game, but he was definitely putting some pressure on him. So if he can bring that to the Commanders this season, then we're in a very good spot. So I love this signing. I give it an A+.
Ooh, A+. I didn't know you was going that high. I almost started to disagree with something that you said, but then you brought it full circle and I had to agree. But you started off by saying that Von Miller signifies that the chips are all in. And I was disagreeing with that portion of what you said. I don't think it signifies chips are all in. If we would have made a crazy trade and traded a first round pick for 2 first rounders for TJ Watt, gave him Terry in the first round for TJ Watt, I'd be like, oh, these boys going all in. But then that second point that you made about Von Miller, the fact that he joins your team signifies that you know what that means, right? Because a guy like Von Miller not just going for just for a payday. One, he mean getting a minimum contract, right? Two, he's not just trying to chase sack records. I'm sure he wants to see his name move up from that 14th, 15th spot, whatever he is. But he not just chasing that, right? He want them rings too. And I couldn't agree with that part more. You get a Von Miller, but Von Miller wants to join your team. That probably means your team is in a good place. You flash me back to his time with the Rams, and that was Von Miller's age, either 32 or 33 season when he was with the Rams. Now we're getting him in his age 36 season, right? So you got to expect a little more drop off. But let's just talk about that Rams season real quick, where like Von Miller, I think he had 4 sacks in the final like 2 playoff games, and 2 of those sacks came in the Super Bowl. I remember watching that Super Bowl and being like, damn, Von might get the MVP of this job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because Von was going crazy in there. And then I think you brought up another good point about like his production last year. And I got a couple things pulled up here about his performances last year. So last year in Buffalo, he had a 17.9% pressure rate. That's the 5th highest among edge defenders with at least 150 rushes. So that show you he still got some get off. He still got some juice in there, right? And then a lot of people are going to say he's falling off athletically. Mind you, age 35 season last year, age 36 season this year. So maybe a little bit of regression, but don't forget he recorded the quickest pass rush get off in the NFL, 0.69 seconds getting off the line, bro. Like people not doing that, bro. Fastest get off in the league over Myles Garrett, over Nick Bosa. Like that's impressive, bro, especially to be that old. One more thing I gotta say before I kick it back to you on the Vine conversation. There's 2 positions that I've noticed on defense that can provide longevity from a career perspective, right? A lot of these positions now, like cornerback, is almost a new running back to me. Cornerback is like running back on defense, where once you 30, you basically done. It's how it's starting to look, right? Especially with the new NFL. Safety is kind of similar, but 2 positions that have proven longevity. One is middle linebacker. We got an aging middle linebacker. We previously had an older middle linebacker that did his thing for us until he was damn near 40 years old in London Fletcher. Now we got another one in Bobby Wagner who's still balling at a high level. And the second one is pass rushers, bro. Like pass rushers, elite pass rushers are typically good until they're almost 40 years old, bro. Like the elite ones. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
the solid one. I'm talking about like the best of the best edge rushers, bro. Because to be an elite edge rusher, there are so many traits. Like to be upper echelon, the elite of the elite edge rusher, you probably got about 5 or 6 elite edge rush traits. You probably got elite get off. You probably got elite moves. You probably have elite power. You probably have elite speed. You know what I'm saying? Like you at least got those four. If two of those four fall off, you might still have two of those abilities, right? So it's like
Right.
edge rusher is one of those things to me. And linebacker, middle linebacker, similar because like as long as you still have the mental for the game, you can still manipulate a lot of things. But that's why edge rusher to me is one of those things where it's like I don't just look at somebody's age and completely write them off. Um, think about another player we had in the past, like a Bruce Smith, bro, who was
Yep.
37, 38 and was our best, damn near our best defender, right? So yeah, I'm not too quick to write Vaughn off. And again, we got him in the Mariano Rivera role, so I think
Yeah,
it's
and
perfect.
to your point, there's a ton of all-time great pass rushers that have done exactly what Von Miller is doing, and that's hop from team to team, so to speak. I wouldn't call it ring chasing
Yeah,
or anything like that, but to your point, the elite pass rushers typically still have something to give, even in their later careers. Dwight Freeney comes to mind, and they'll sign with random teams for a year or two because they can still give that team something off the bench. So in no way do I think Von Miller is going to lead the league in sacks. He might not even lead the team in sacks, but I do expect him to have some of the most memorable sacks of the season. I do expect him to show up big time when the spotlight's on, because that's all I've ever known Von Miller to do. So,
facts.
all right, man. So we're gonna keep it pushing from one signing to another signing, and that well, not a signing, but hopefully soon to be signing, and that's the Terry McLaurin contract situation. I've seen a lot going on online about this. A lot of people upset. A lot of people saying we wanted a real GM. Now we got a real GM, so let him cook. I'm very interested to know where you stand on this whole thing, Bryce. You were honestly on vacation, so we haven't conversed too much about the new information that's come out. Last time me and you spoke, we didn't know how frustrated Terry was. You hear the stuff about the agent saying this, but he came out straight up in his interview and said, "I'm not gonna lie, I'm very frustrated." So they haven't talked in over a month. Said he's not looking for a trade. Definitely wants to be in DC, but overall, it didn't sound good. So where are you at now after that Easter Motors interview with Terry?
Bro, I was trying to warn folks for a minute, and this is like the injustice that the I would say the local media does sometimes, right? The local media picks its darling and just feels like that darling can do no wrong. For a minute, the local media picked Taylor Heineke and he couldn't do nothing wrong, right? And right now, agreed. We got to pay the man. But right now, the local media's darling, as well as most of Commanders Nation's darling, is Adam Peters, bro. So they just automatically feel like Adam Peters is going to be in line with what they want, and that the man can do no wrong. That's just how the fan base feels and how the local media feels right now. So when the whole Terry contract shit was first coming up, everybody was like, "Oh, it's gonna get done. Oh, there's nothing to worry about. Oh, it's not even training camp yet. Oh, it's not even mini camp. Oh, all the talking heads had all this shit to say." But in the back of my mind, I'm looking at it like, dog, this is. You see the caption, right? Terry contract getting scary. It's getting scary, and it was for me. It was scary back then, and let me tell you why. First off, you look at the receiver market, right? It has just gotten reset, right? That was followed up with DK Metcalf getting like 32, 33 mil from the Steelers. DK and Terry came out the same year, right? Cool. The difference between DK and Terry is the age, bro. Terry's age 30, DK 28. That shit matters. That matters in contract negotiations, right? Now, if you're Terry's agent, that shouldn't matter at all because my client has shown the ability to get it done, the ability to be what you guys, to be the commander that you guys want. But if you look at it from the Adam Peters side of things, which, or just the GM side of things in general, these GMs like their own guys first and foremost, bro. Look at the big money players that Adam Peters has signed thus far from other teams, bro. Every single one of them that's been over 15 million, I would say, has been somebody that he had in another organization, bro. Right? Think about it. Debo Samuel, although he's not actually, yeah, he is getting crazy bread this year. Debo Samuel, Javon Kinlaws, right? These are actually Adam Peters guys for real. And Terry McLaurin, as much as we all love him, as much as we've all grown with him, as much as we all seen the sacrifices, what is he to Adam Peters except a guy that's played for him for one season and a guy that he didn't draft? You know what I'm saying? a guy that's already under contract, right? And this is where leverage comes into play because I think the other side of this is like the Commanders have a lot more leverage than Terry, right? If Terry was 26, 27, and the Commanders was playing hardball, I think Terry would have a lot more leverage. But at age 30, you really can't afford to sit out a season. Like you can't
Yeah,
hold out the whole season, bro. He's 30. You losing
yeah.
one of your last seasons, right? So it's almost like they got a real tough decision to make. And to me, it's not as simple as just give them 4 years at 30 million, give them 3 years at 32. Like it's not that simple to me because you're dealing with a player that's age 30 season. And like I talked about the edge rush position earlier, right? Where elite edge rushers can play till 35, 36, 37. Elite receivers typically fall off around 31, 32, bro. Just being honest. Like go back and look at some of these guys we've seen, elite guys, if it's go to the AJ Greens, the Julio Joneses, right? Um, shit, you name it, bro. Andre Johnson. Just go back, bro, and tell me what that age 31, 32 look like. DeAndre Hopkins, right? That's typically when it starts to fall off. So I'm not mad at Adam Peters for playing hardball and not wanting to commit. I think this deal ends up getting done, but I think it's gonna shock some people. Some of the terms will shock some people, and it won't surprise me if it's only like a 1 year or 2 year extension at a high dollar amount.
And your last point is exactly why I was going to say it is that simple. Like I know a lot of people are going to make it complicated and it's going to feel complicated, but at the end of the day, I don't want to hear all that about the age, the age, the age. We just talked about Von Miller being 36. They just brought in Lermy Tunsil, who's over 30. They brought back Wagner over 30, re-signed Ertz over 30. All these moves are telling me that you're bringing these guys back for 1 to 2 years because you want to win now. While you before you have to pay Jaden, which you're gonna have to pay Jaden, and once you got to pay Jaden, you're not gonna be able to pay a Terry realistically, right? So what's going to need to happen is what you said last. They need to go ahead and extend Terry this year before training camp for at least another 1 to 2 years. Give him make it 35 a year. Guarantee him what is that 70 million? Guarantee him 70 million more. These other guys, I think DK just got 60 million guaranteed. Garrett Wilson just signed for 100 some guaranteed, I think. So you could probably get him under the 100 million guarantee mark because he's 30 by adding 2 more years of 70 million more guaranteed. And to your point, once he's 31, the stats typically go down. That's the last big year you got to pay him. Now you can get out from under that contract because around that same time, you're going to end up having to pay Jaden. So you're 100% right when you say Adam Peters, the way that this contract is going to be set up, Adam Peters is in no way going to give Terry a 3 to 4 year deal or extension in any way, shape, or form. They're going to have to crunch that down to a shorter term, 1 to 2 years, but that's going to mean front load that and give them that guaranteed money this year and next. But to me, it's an easy deal to get done. And I have a big issue. To your point, they made Adam Peters the media darling. I have a big issue with that. I'm not here to praise Adam Peters or even overly criticize him. But to me, this team, the new ownership, everybody, Dan Quinn, the new coaches, they've done a great job of building up good faith with the fan base, right? We brought back the old jerseys, right? Which I love, the white jerseys, the throwback jerseys they're gonna have. They're gonna redo the Sean Taylor. We're the statue. We're getting RFK back. They've done all the things that the fan base has asked for, other than get the old name and the old logo, which is just never gonna happen. But they've done a bunch of good faith building. The first big blemish on that is this Terry McLaurin signing or contract issue, whatever you want to call it. And the reason I say that's a big issue, and I think it's bigger than most people are realizing, is because this is bringing it right back to where that fan base was divided before this new ownership group. This is bringing it back to silly posts about, oh, they posted a bunch of guys that got married this summer, but didn't post Terry. What is like? This is the kind of negative, ridiculous attention that you are getting the Commanders away from, and you don't want to take a step back into it by having your star wide receiver, who your fan base absolutely loves. You just said it, Bryce. We've watched Terry grow. He's the last player that was a Redskin, a football team member, and a Commander. The last one that did all three. So this fan base loves Terry. There's no way that you can get away with giving him a disrespectful offer, just letting him walk, trying to franchise tagging him, trade him. There's no way you can make a move like that and not lose some of the good faith that you build up with this fan base. I think that has to be a factor into all of this somehow, some way. And with that part being said, I definitely think they get him signed by this time next week because I don't think that Josh Harris is willing to gamble the good faith with the fan base that they've worked very hard to rebuild.
Yeah, I feel that. I think that was well said too. And like the only part that I'd push back on is like I don't think the deal is easy to get done. And the reason being is because like I think if you go to Terry and tell him like, hey, we're gonna give you a 2-year deal, I think he laughs at that. And I think that might be where the holdup is more than the money. I think the money, the market kind of dictates the money, right?
Right.
But the terms, the years, the duration of the contract, I think it becomes the issue. How long do you want to pay him, right? And do I have to dig myself in a hole, acting on some sort of good faith? Do I have to dig myself in a hole to comply with my fan base to get them on my side? Like that's the real question. And I think like when we talk about good, really great, great run organizations, bro, they churning stars. A star can come in and come out of a great organization. That organization will keep being great. I mean,
Well, I think
The Chiefs got rid of Tyreek Hill and won another Super Bowl, right? And
to your point, there is a bit of a reality check that has to come with it. And I think as fans got to realize it, but I think to your point, even Terry McLaurin is going to have to come to terms and the grips. He's probably
that's
not retiring as a commander. Like
that's what right.
that's
And I don't know if he's
at
got
the
to
end
come
of
to
the day,
grips.
that's what it's going to come to.
I don't know if he's got to come to grips though. And reason being is because like similar to like the Bengals with Trey Hendrickson, right? There's somebody else out there that'll pay Terry what he really wants, bro. Like we might not be the team that will pay him what he wants, just the way our organization is moving, our values as a like values from Adam Peters and his team. Like, bruh, they might not again, and don't keep in mind, Terry McLaurin's not an Adam Peters guy, bro. He didn't handpick Terry McLaurin. He inherited him. And that matters, bruh. And like as
I
much
think
as I
if you're Terry though, I don't know if it's all about the money. I think a lot of it is the brotherhood. Like he mentioned building a life
Right.
here, pour it
You can
into it.
find listen, brother. You can find brotherhood my brother, you can find brotherhood anywhere. All right.
What I'm saying
Brotherhood is free.
what I'm saying though is you got to accept that 1 to 2 year extension if you're Terry. Like if you're Terry and you're thinking I want to be here another 5 years, whatever, you got to sign that 1 or 2 year extension and hope that you can be Santana Moss in your 30s because that's the
I
only way
mean,
that you're
or if
gonna
you
end up sticking around.
or if you're Terry, you can say, listen, the Patriots will give me 4 for 120 right now. I demand a trade. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of ways if you're Terry you could play it right now. And that's another thing, right? I feel like because Terry, bro, salute to Terry, bro. He always been an upstanding individual, bro. He always been like, model citizen for the team, right? But dog, that don't mean I expect this man to take a crazy pay cut. That don't mean just because Terry McLaurin's been a model citizen for the Commanders doesn't mean I as a fan or as a human should expect this man to want to take um 75 million over 120 million, right? Like, nah, bro, it ain't enough camaraderie in the world that's gonna make me lose out on 60 M's. You feel me? And I think like if Terry's team, I'm sure, is looking at the market, the receiver market, right, as it's available. No, the agents probably know the teams that are willing to really pony up for a receiver. It wouldn't shock me if it's 3 or 4 teams ready to give Terry 100 mil for 3 to 4 seasons, 120 mil for 3, 4 seasons right now, bro. Or 4 seasons, I should say. But it wouldn't shock me. And I think that's going to end up being where the real holdup is. I do think a deal gets done. I still lean on the side of a deal getting done. I think the terms will shock folks. But, dog, I also could see a world where the Commanders say 2 first-round picks for Terry McLaurin. Sounds nice. Sounds nice. Sounds real nice. All right. And that's actually kind of like my next question. I got a question for you. Like, what would it take for you to trade Terry? You know what I'm saying? And I know people don't want to live in that world where like Terry could be gone, but bro, this is the reality. Like I said, bro, Tyreek Hill left the Chiefs and they won another chip, right? Like George Pickens gone from the Steelers. DK Metcalf. You don't think the Seahawks fans watch DK Metcalf grow up? You don't think he was a fan favorite? I be in Seattle. He was a fan favorite in Seattle. But like, you gotta go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling folks, man, just be ready, bro. Be ready for Terry to, for the possibility of Terry not being here. And it's gonna be real interesting to watch. If that were to happen, I would love to see the fans' reactions to Adam Peters, because y'all love him, y'all love him, y'all love him. But what y'all gonna love him if you make a decision y'all don't like? I'm not gonna be
No,
mad at Adam Peters if he decides Terry for two first is worth it. Like,
I hear you. I hear you, right? And I'm not married to the idea of Terry retiring in the burgundy and gold, right? That's just not the nature of the business. Um, but to me, and before I get into the hypothetical trades, to me, based off where the season ended last season, based off Jaden's development, based off all these other moves, from Von Miller to Tunsil to bringing Ertz back, to not bring Terry back is just a bad. It'll leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I think another layer to it is, to your point, Terry is such an upstanding person on and off the field. He's not your typical diva receiver that complains when he doesn't get the ball, that will throw a fit in practice or is out in the streets doing da 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 da. So to not sign a guy back like that, I think is going to leave a bad taste in other players' mouths. I think other players will say, okay, well, he checked all the boxes that you wanted him to check to be a commander, and you still couldn't give him a payday. I think that reflects on the organization in a multitude of ways. But as far as a hypothetical for a trade, I don't know if anyone's given up 2 firsts for Terry, but I wouldn't anything below a second, I wouldn't even entertain, right? So if you're telling me a second and another receiver who's maybe a tier below Terry, I wouldn't be mad at that. If you're telling me someone's willing to give up 2 firsts, why would you hesitate? Why would you hesitate at that? But to me, if you're doing a trade before this season, you need to get something back in return. I wouldn't want to go into this season with Debo as my number one receiver. Uh, Nah, no, not on the outside at least. So I would need another player back in return if they make a trade for him before camp starts. But again, that is a hypothetical that I don't know if it'll get that deep.
we'll see. At this point, the way Terry was talking at that fundraiser, whatever it was, that media moment he had,
The Eastern Motors don't, which
the
I thought was
Eastern
funny
Motors
because it's
job.
like, and that's a commander staple, bro. Like if you doing the Eastern Motors commercial, you on the team, like you like you know what I mean. Like I don't know if it was done at Eastern Motors commercial and then got traded a couple weeks after. That's wild.
You can go to the Ravens and still do Eastern Motors commercials, all right? But all I'm saying is the way Terry was talking, the way he was posturing, bro, it would not shock me if we get a headline that says Terry McLaurin has requested a trade from the Washington Commanders.
So what do you think about the part where you said it's been about a month since they spoke? Do you think that's neglectful on the part of Adam Peters in the front office?
Nah, bro, I think it's just like this is our number. Like we'll wait on you. Like you're under contract for the season, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. It's also like that's what gets missed. It's not like he's not a free agent. Like he's under
Yeah, he's
contract. He want an extension. So that cool, but like
and that's
we
why
would like you to play this year.
I don't think they're gonna trade him at all. I think the two most likely scenarios out of this, and this is my prediction, is he either gets signed this week. If he doesn't get signed by the first week or two in training camp, I think he plays out this last contract. Because to your point, he's not going to sit out a whole season at age 30. That's not going to happen. So I think he either gets signed these first couple weeks of training camp, or we just ride this out the whole season, which I think would hurt the good faith that this that this front office has been building up. But time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, also, bruh, I know people love like Adam Peters, Dan Quinn. They loving it, bruh. But dog, they've been here for 1 year. So like, yeah, maybe they've built up some good faith, but like over a year, bruh, like you know what I'm saying? I don't.
It can crumble quick.
You know what I'm saying? The good faith can crumble quick. But what I'm getting at is like fans, you think you know them, bruh. You think you know we as fans, we think we know everybody. But after a year with Adam Peters, you think you know him, bruh. That's just what I want to leave fans with, bro. You think you know him, but you don't, bruh. You don't know how his football mind works. You don't know how he views team construction. You think you know him. but you don't, dog. Like I'm telling you, you don't. And it wouldn't shock me, like, bruh, if you play Madden franchise, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's time to get rid of the old guys and get some young guys in at some point. Like we all know this. Like it just wouldn't shock me if Adam Peters is like, cool, Terry, we'll take you for this year and the next, but
Right.
we're not giving you 3 extra years on your contract, bro. And like I'm sure Terry wants a 3-year extension, bro.
I think you and I are in agreement that I wouldn't extend him for more than 2 years max.
I think Terry is gonna laugh at a 2-year extension, bro. So you're saying,
That's
wait, you're saying you'd give him this year, play on this year, and you give him 2 more years after that.
right. And I would
Right.
I
I
would
think
I
you
would
laughing
give
at that.
him I would give him the guaranteed money this year though. Like instead of putting that on the last 2 years, one of those years, like that third year, they'd be able to get out of the contract. If that makes sense. Like I would
Right. So
guarantee the money for this year
basically you're
and
giving
next.
2 years. Basically, you're just giving him
Basically giving them 2 more years.
Terry gonna laugh at that, bro. Terry gonna laugh at that because, and that's
But
probably why
but
he feels.
that's
You're
and
talking like Adam Peters, and that's probably why Terry feels disrespected.
but that's the problem though, because that's the thing with the age. Like I don't think Terry's gonna fall off a cliff because he's 30, but I don't think you turn 30 and get a 4-year deal.
I mean, you would think not, but like, bruh.
And I mean, and I don't want to. And I know people do this. I'm not one of those guys that oh, the receiver's 30, he's trash. Santana Moss in the second half of his career, arguably better than the
Oh,
first half. You know what I mean? Like he was
oh,
easily a great player that can contribute. We just talked about what Von Miller is going to do. So could Terry? And Terry said it in his little interview. His game is going to mature. So could Terry still be effective in his 30s? I believe so. But I think you only get a 2-year extension and you revisit where you are at age 31, 32.
bruh. If you're talking about revisiting where you are at 32, you're like, bruh, this is Terry's last payday. You're not revisiting where you are at 30. Like, if you're the agent, you're telling your client, we're not revisiting where we are at 32 because at 32, bruh, nobody's about to sign us
You're
for
getting
nothing, you know?
you're gonna play for minimums at that point. That's what this is gonna be his last big
Right. That's
payday, which is why
right.
they got to
Right.
give him that guaranteed that the everybody that says, "Oh, I wouldn't give him 35 a year," that's just what the market is, bro. CD Lamb is getting 36. I'm not gonna give him above CD Lamb, but I don't see how you give him below DK. Like he's got to get at least
Yeah,
33.
I'm telling you, man, I really don't think the number is the issue, bro. I'm pretty sure it's the turn the years, bro. I'm pretty sure that's what it would have to be, dog. Adam Peters and those guys, man, they know what the numbers are. Like you can't you the market dictates the numbers, bro. But the years, man, Terry gonna want a 3-year extension, bro. Keep me locked here for the next 4 years. And like, I'm not mad at Adam Peters and company for pushing back on that. And again, dog, first round pick. Would I do Terry for one first? It would hurt me as a fan, but I'd probably do it, bro. Like if the Patriots or somebody offered a first round pick, let's say the Patriots offer us a first and a second from McLaurin.
It's a done deal, bro.
Jalen Lane, you're up, my boy.
Yeah, it's a done deal. I'm already on record. Jalen Lane's going to be the most impactful rookie on the Commanders this season. So, but yeah, man, let's keep it pushing because I'm obviously this contract situation isn't getting squared away anytime soon. So I'm sure we'll retouch on this in the coming weeks. But let's keep it pushing off just Terry McLaurin and let's talk about what else we're expecting in training camp next week. Again, camp does start next Wednesday. I believe that is the day of the first practice. Rookies reporting this weekend. Everybody else reporting, I believe, like Monday or something like that. Um, so what are the first things you're going to be looking for once camp kicks off? Every year we have a bunch of camp warriors. De'Ami Brown always had a great camp and then didn't do much into the season. So I know some people don't put too much stock into the training camp. I'm one of those guys that puts a ton of stock into the training camp. I love seeing where people get lined up at, what positions they're trying to put people at. You can actually learn a lot if you pay attention. So what are you going to be looking for once training camp kicks off, Bryce?
I think first thing I'm gonna be looking for. Remember when Jaden came in last year? It was the whole like, gotta make him earn it, right? He was splitting first team reps with Marcus Mariota, and they made him go through the ringer. Eventually, of course, he was named starter week 1. Um, but another rookie that we all kind of expect to be a starter midway about towards the end of training camp was Brandon Coleman, right? And they didn't just gift him the starting position; they actually made him
Right.
split time with Cornelius Lucas, right, early in the season. So I think I'm looking at a similar situation for our first round pick, Josh Connerly, and I'm really going to be tracking like his usage throughout training camp because I think that's going to tell me a lot about where they envision him and his readiness for week one. I'm really interested to see if Josh Connerly ends up being like week one starter, 100% of the snaps, or if it ends up being one of those like right tackle by committee type of things like it was last season with the left tackle spot. Because I definitely foresee that. That's where my money's on right now. Is that Josh Connerly comes in splitting time with maybe a Wiley at that right tackle spot. So that's one thing I'm gonna keep my eye on. Really, O line is the thing I'm really honing the most on, right? Because the other thing I'm gonna be watching is the Brandon Coleman transition to left guard, right? And then what ends up happening with Allegretti. I think there's gonna be an odd man out of this O line who will end up being a piece that is decent enough to trade to another team.
Hmm.
So I do expect one of like Allegretti, um, Wiley, to be traded at some point, depending on how things shake out during training camp, and if the starters are solidified somewhat early. So I'm really going to be watching to see who the odd man out ends up being. Is it Allegretti or is it Wiley on the O line? I'm also going to be watching the D line close. Obviously, we've talked at length about Von Miller, but I truly believe Von Miller is a closer. And I think in the Commanders' mind, even before they signed Von Miller, I think in their mind they've got someone in mind who they're hoping to take a big leap this year at that DN position. My money goes on my guy Baptiste, John Baptiste.
Yeah, he's made a lot of
Um,
noise.
he made a lot of noise. I thought he played solid last season when given the opportunities. So I'm excited to see if he's able to kind of run with that DN spot. So I think the two lines to be what I'm focused on the most here.
No, yeah, those are good choices for sure. The O line is very interesting on how they're going to shuffle that around. I 100% agree with you. I think Connolly's going to split snaps in the beginning. I'm interested to see how quickly he can hold that spot down though. I think he'll end up holding that spot down a lot quicker than Coleman. And I really want to see where they put Coleman, especially with Brandon Sheriff. I assume he's going to be in the pup list. I think he's definitely going to miss some time.
Brandon
So
Shaw,
that
you talking about Sam
or yeah,
Cosmi?
Cosme. My bad, Cosme.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, we have so many. We've drafted so many tackles turn guards now that they're starting to run
it's our
together.
thing. It's our thing,
Um,
bro. It's what we're
nah,
best at.
yeah. If we draft a tackle, he's probably going to be an all pro guard. But the thing I'm going to be looking for on the offensive side of the ball is definitely the battle. And I don't know if it's a true battle or not, but I'm going to be seeing who's getting more snaps between Luke McCaffrey and Jalen Lane. They
Mm.
got Wes Welker in there as the position coach. So I'm expecting a huge leap from Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey is like Wes Welker light. So I'm expecting Luke to make some moves this season. If he doesn't make moves this season, that could be kind of damaging for him because where he could fail, Jalen Lane, I think, will certainly step up. So that could threaten Luke's playing time. I think Luke is done as far as return with a guy like Lane there. So Luke's going to have to get it in on offense. So I'll be watching him all camp and early on in the preseason. And I'm hoping for the guy. I think he'll have a nice second season. Another guy I want to keep my eye on is Ben Sinnott. I was very hopeful for him last season. He never really cracked the lineup to get much playing time. So this will be a big spring for him to see how much playing time he's actually getting and how much he improved. Because even though they brought Ertz back, I view Ertz like I view Von Miller. Maybe not necessarily a closer, but you're giving him a snap count, right? You're giving him a pitch count. I don't expect him to play every down. So you need a guy like Sinnott that can come in and be a pass catcher, help alleviate some of that. And then on defense, you know me, man, I'm all about the DBs. Got to see Lattimore. I'm be at camp. I want to see Lattimore up close and in person, see if he's fully healthy. I think if Lattimore is fully healthy, that's a whole nother dog that's kind of being slept on. Then I want to see what they do at safety. I'm not all the way sold on Will Harris. I like Quan a lot, but I don't think anyone's saying Quan's one of the top safeties in the league or anything like that, right? So I'm interested to see how they break down the safety position. And then Sanders Still's development at corner, and I'm already a big Trey Amos fan who just signed yesterday, so he'll be there at camp as well. Um, so yeah, I want to see how the DBs shake out because that safety room is a little shaky to me.
Yeah. I was actually gonna go there next, bro, because the safety is one of the few question marks I'd say as position groups are concerned. But like the corners is very interesting to me too, bro, because like last year this time we was going in there with Benjamin St. Juice, Michael Davis, and Emmanuel Forbes, man. That's
Crazy
what we
work.
was going in with last year, bro. Like, and that whole position group has had a 180 turnaround. I don't know if it results in it being a strong group for the team. Who knows? But one would think it should be at least stronger, right? And Amos is another a similar position to Connolly, in my opinion, where it's like, dog, is Amos a week one starter? Are they going to do some weird rotation shit with Amos where you got to earn it, son? So we're gonna put Jonathan Jones in front of you, like you know what I'm saying.
Right.
We're gonna put we know you're better, but you got to earn it, son. So we're gonna play Noah Igbenogany in front of you, like you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm interested to see how they play that. Because I do think that Amos has stud potential on the outside, man. I really do. I liked him a lot in college, and I was shocked he was there when we got him. So definitely excited to see his progression. I'm hoping he's the real deal.
Yeah, no, I think he'll be a dog. I think I like the whole make him earn it thing. Jonathan Jones is an excellent player. He's up there in age though, so I don't think he should be out there starting. But I think if you're who we thought you were in college, which I think Amos is a dog too after watching this tape, then he should be able to take that spot no problem. Same as Connolly. I'm expecting you to be in a battle in the beginning, but after a few preseason games and you can show what you do against other elite talent or other NFL starting caliber talent, I expect you to shine a little bit more than the last guy. So both Amos and Connolly, I think they'll be week one starters for the most part.
We're gonna see, man, and we're gonna see. I hope so, and that's gonna tell me a lot, especially from an organization that makes everybody quote unquote earn it. They're week one starters. That means they legit.
No, definitely. I think that corner room too, man. That the whole secondary is gonna have a test, man. Yeah, we got Von Miller, but the pass rush still isn't top tier. And that secondary is gonna have a test because we're playing a lot of top tier QBs coming up this season between the AFC West and NFC North, like a gauntlet of nice QBs. So
That's a fact, bro. That's the only thing about doing well in a season you weren't supposed to do well in when your roster ain't all the way ready. Now you got one of the you got a second place schedule, right? So
yeah, it's gonna be an uphill battle, man. But like we said, it's still mid July. Camp's right around the corner. Is there anything else you wanted to get on before we get out of here, Bryce?
nah, man. Just appreciate everybody for tuning in. We've had a nice little crowd in here today. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Let us know your thoughts on some of the topics we discussed today. What do you grade the Von Miller signing? What would you trade for Terry? Like if you had to trade Terry away, what would you expect? And some of y'all's thoughts about training camp, man. I'd love to hear some of the crowd's expectations for training camp or some of the things they're excited to watch transpire.
Yeah, most definitely, man. As always, like, subscribe, leave a comment. You can follow us on Twitter, subscribe here on YouTube, and yeah, man, we'll be seeing you guys around. We'll probably be back weekly for once training camp and preseason starts, and then once the season starts, we'll probably hit you guys with about 2 pods a week. So stay locked in with us, man. Hell to the culture.
Hell to the culture.